Hey, Kentucky, this is Mary Jo Perino. Tonight, we'll talk about all things coronavirus, from further updates via the governor's office to the impact on sports. We've also picked out some positive headlines from this crisis. All that and more is next on Hey, Kentucky. Welcome into Hey, Kentucky. Keith Farmer of LEX 18 Sports is my co-host tonight and for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, and you know what took so long, right?
Exactly.
My mom reminded me, hey, I've already done that show.
She was the first farmer.
She was the first farmer on here because they had like a Mother's Day week, and she was one of the first ones on here and did, you know, all the topics and everything. She had a blast doing it.
Well, I hope you have a blast.
I'm sure I will.
This will be fun. Although these are trying times that
Yes.
we've got to talk about, especially
No doubt.
like two sports people, and we don't have sports.
Exactly.
But I
Carry
digress. Let's carry on. The whole world has to do it. So the coronavirus headlines begin with today's word from Governor Beshear that Kentucky has had its first death related to COVID-19, an elderly man from Bourbon County. The 66-year-old had been admitted to the hospital for a pre-existing condition. The governor says there were numerous factors that led to the man's death, including the coronavirus. Beshear also says even if the virus isn't in your county yet, you should still follow the safety guidelines put out, like practicing good hand hygiene and social distancing. He says he expects to have a case of COVID-19 in every area of the state, prompting him to order all restaurants and bars in Kentucky to close for in-person service as of 5 p.m. Drive-through and delivery options will still be available.
What about large lines or crowds outside of restaurants? That's something that we can't allow to happen. So we'll make sure in our order, whether if it's curbside, it's going to need to be brought to you. If it is drive-through, that ought to work, but we'll put out guidance on that. Again, if you are a restaurant that is going to switch to this model or is already in this model, you have to think about how you lessen those contacts.
The governor also talked about how this tough time affects mental health. He encourages people to share positive vibes and how they're helping themselves on social media with the hashtags Team Kentucky and Together KY. Keith, we kind of saw this coming. Ohio, Illinois, they've done the same thing. Other states have. But it hurts your heart a little bit thinking about small businesses, thinking
Yes.
about these restaurants, and it's indefinite.
And you want to go out and help these people
Yeah.
where you can. And so we're seeing the deliveries an option. We're seeing maybe a drive-through and such. My son actually went to a coffee shop and he had his backpack on and was prepared to go study a little bit and have some coffee. And they said, hey, you're not going to be able to stay, but we can get you your coffee and you can go. And so he was able to do that, and come to find out they're thinking about doing some delivery service. So he said, hey, if you want, I'll help you deliver.
Or buy gift cards.
Exactly.
To use at a later time, but that way they get some
Exactly.
revenue keep coming in.
Correct.
So we've heard about the ways that the outbreak has triggered hoarding and in some cases price gouging. The attorneys general for Kentucky and Tennessee both went after a pair of brothers from Tennessee who bought medical products in stores both in Tennessee and Kentucky earlier this month, and then later tried to resell them at higher prices. Matt Colvin caused quite a stir when he and his brother bought, about 18,000 bottles of hand sanitizer, putting them in storage. After getting a cease and desist order, the Colvins ended up donating most of the inventory.
I didn't think it was going to blow up into a flat-out situation where everyone is being told to stay home. I'm beside myself of where we are with my family. And I'm scared for my family's safety. If by my actions anyone was directly impacted and unable to get sanitizer from one of their local stores because I purchased it all, I am truly sorry for that.
Of course they weren't able to get it because you purchased it all. That was your whole point. Anyways, a woman in northern Kentucky was spotted selling rolls of toilet paper for $5 a roll. And of course, there are many more reports of similar gouging online. Retailers around Kentucky, including Walmart and Kroger, have limited their hours during this outbreak. Keith, one of our co-hosts here, Chip Cosby, I saw him post a picture today of him with a roll of toilet paper saying,
He was a lucky one.
You said, ladies, does this look hot to you?
Yeah. First off, shame on you.
Yes.
Shame on you if you're doing this.
Why would you think that wouldn't affect people? That's why you did it.
At least he did have a little contrition.
Yes.
He felt bad about it, and good for him because now he's doing the good thing and he's giving it away. I don't get the toilet paper.
Yeah.
I don't get the paper towels. Why are you not getting spaghetti and beans and things in cans that are going to last and feed you?
Yeah. Well, listen, I went to the store yesterday. All the riced cauliflower, still there.
Good to go.
Yep.
And I'm good with that.
Yes, there's still,
I'm with you.
all the healthy stuff was still available. All right, there's quite a bit of fallout from an event held in Louisville before the coronavirus headlines really exploded. Governor Beshear, Congressman John Yarmouth, Senator Rand Paul, Louisville Mayor Greg Fisher, and Transportation Secretary Jim Gray were among those who attended the Speedball at Louisville Speed Art Museum. Since the March 7th event, 2 people in attendance have tested positive for COVID-19. The governor has tested negative for the virus, and so have Yarmouth and Fisher, but they and Gray have agreed to self-quarantine along with the U of L president, who also attended. Meanwhile, the coronavirus outbreak has shut down things in Frankfort, although maybe not for long. The 2020 legislative session was put on hold last week, but as of this taping, lawmakers plan to reconvene tomorrow. The Capitol, though, will be closed to visitors. Keith, there's certain things that have to be done in this time. And I'm sure they're going to try the social distancing stuff, but they have to get some things done.
But we're all learning that we have to do things differently. Can't we do a video conferencing? Can't we? I mean, maybe they'll put them several seats apart. I don't know how it's going to work. You're right. It's got to get done. But why does it have to happen in one room? Maybe they can have a few people call in, video conference in, and get this thing done. Yeah,
my favorite meme, or one of them from all of this, is now we find out which meetings could have actually just been emails.
Yeah, exactly. Or a text, or yes, exactly.
All right. We're all waiting to see the long-term impact of the coronavirus on Kentucky schools at every level. K through 12 classrooms have shuttered across the state for at least the next 2 weeks. Ohio's governor has said he wouldn't be surprised to see schools there closed for the rest of the school year. That comment came after the CDC said keeping kids home for only 2 to 4 weeks wouldn't do much good. But as of this taping, Governor Beshear has said the state is not ready to extend the closures into the summer. Meanwhile, parents are worried about daycare as an option during that time.
And it's like, where are you going to put the kids? And parents have to go to work. We have to make the money for the family. So it's just like, if you're putting them in another environment with more kids, bigger groups, they're just still getting exposed to everything. So, I feel like they'd honestly be better in school, but it's not my decision.
Now, at last word, Governor Beshear had told daycare centers to prepare plans in the instance they would need to close within 72 hours, something he anticipated happening this week. Keith, my daycare, is open, and they have, they just sent out an email today saying when he tells us to close, we got to close. But in the meantime, they're open. I know.
So my kids are older, so I've got to almost turn it back to you and say, how are you going to do it?
And I don't know. I'm in a fortunate situation because my older son can watch the younger one, but not all parents can.
No, exactly.
I don't know.
Not only that, when we lived in Louisville, we had no family there really that could help us out. And if this had happened, I'm not sure me or my wife, one, would probably have had to stay home and take care of them and not been able to work.
And it's one thing if it's a week. If it's 2 months or longer, that's
much tougher.
Very tough. All right, at a home in Nelson County, sheriff's deputies are doing something unprecedented that the governor and others have ordered. Law enforcement is posted outside the home of a 53-year-old man who has a confirmed case of coronavirus, but refused to self-isolate, according to Andy Beshear. The governor says he ordered the man to self-isolate after he left a hospital against medical advice.
It's a step I hope that I never had to take, but we can't allow one person who we know has this virus to refuse to protect their neighbors.
Nelson County's judge executive says he's expecting more cases in the area and thinks some of them may come from this patient who lives outside the Bardstown city limits. But the man's wife disputes the governor's account and says her husband never tested positive for COVID-19. Yikes. This is one of those stories you don't want to see because you don't want to have to see combativeness and stuff like that.
But you can already tell that the man's wife is tired of him being home. So she's saying, he didn't test positive for it at all. Get him out of the house.
But he's testing my last nerve.
Exactly. That's what's going on.
Tested positive for that.
Yeah, I don't like seeing it either. But if you're not going to help out the community that you live in, not just Kentucky, but your community and the people that you're around, we're going to need people to make sure you're home.
Yeah, when you're seeing this, immense precautions that are being taken
Yeah.
worldwide.
Yeah.
You just have to. Yeah, I mean,
Have to.
You have
Got to
to.
make sure that guy's staying in the house.
All right, up next on Hey Kentucky, we will talk about the impact of the outbreak on the sports world. Big changes are in store for horse racing, along with the end of basketball for the college and high school levels. Stay with us.